I want to welcome Patricia Zeegers today for our session where we can explore coaching and her perspective on coaching. And I just want to give Patricia a brief time to introduce herself and welcome her.
Yeah, thank you, Adele. It's great to be here, and I really like the idea of this just being a reflective conversation together. I think coaching is such a human practice. So it feels right to talk about it in a very human way.
Yes, I agree with you. It's just to explore more about you and more about what you see as coaching. And with that, I want to jump in and just ask you, what keeps you engaged in coaching?
What keeps me engaged in coaching is really my curiosity for or about other people. I'm very interested in how people make sense of situations that they're in, especially when you see people very capable and thoughtful, still maybe stuck or overloaded in what they're doing. So, as I see it, I see a lot of people that I work with are really doing fine on the surface. They have jobs, their lives are in order, they're competent, responsible, and also often trusted by others. And then there is the layer underneath that. It's a lot of strain, sometimes very hidden. And what really draws me in is the moment when somebody realizes or gets the aha moment, if you like, okay, this is not about me trying harder or working harder. It's about me making some changes. And I love when that realization lands because often there's first relief. Sometimes there's a little bit of sadness about what needs to be left behind, but there is clarity. And when we see clarity, that is when people start seeing patterns instead of the problems, and they see a way forward, and what's actually happening, what can be within their control and what is not in their control. And being present for that shift, that never gets old for me. It's a beautiful shift. It's a meaningful process. It's where real movement starts, and it's where I really love being.
I like how you describe that and how it keeps you engaged is the people and the changes that comes across from that. And I really want to thank you for sharing that for me because you really, for us, you've shared, you've done it so perfectly and summarized how it keeps you engaged in coaching. And following up on that is what kind of impact do you most enjoy making with your clients or within the coaching community?
Right. Yeah, I think that the impact that I enjoy most is when I see people get the feeling that they're less alone and that they understand the realization, if you like, that whatever weight they are carrying, they don't have to do it alone. So if I look at the clients that I work with, many come in feeling like they're the only one holding things together. I work a lot with startup founders, people who are leaders at work in leadership roles, and most of them are women. So I get a lot of people feeling that they're holding everything together, both at work and sometimes even in their personal lives. And they are used to being always the reliable one. They're the capable one, and I recognize this feeling also from my let's say from my experience from earlier things I did in my life. Over time, that becomes very heavy. And what I like to elicit with people and maybe show the way a little bit is that they can actually redistribute the load that they are carrying. And then when people gain enough clarity to make cleaner decisions, if you like, and to stop absorbing everything by default, then they also start to trust themselves differently, and also the people around them, and they see that they don't have to do it alone. It's not a, it's not a, in the moment, I don't think it's a life changing or a huge impact that is very visible, or a visible change right away. But it's gradual. It starts with better boundaries, maybe better sleep, more grounded choices. So it is really small habits and small impacts that I make, and that come to fruition over time. And so sometimes, people come back to me after years and say, "Well, you said this or that, or we did this or that, and it really changed me." And that's rewarding, obviously.
Yeah, you shared a lot about how people perceive you and what they get from that impact that you've originally made, and how you guide them through their journeys. And I'm going to follow that up, because a lot of what you shared is touching on something else that I want to ask you. And I want to ask you about whether there is a principle or a value or any approach that really guides you to show up as a coach.
Yeah, I think that if I had to name it, I think I aim to bring clarity paired with kindness. So I do believe people deserve honesty, but never judgment. So my role is not to rescue or fix people. It's to help people see the situation clearly, so that they can decide what is right for them. So I try, in the work that I do, to create a space where things can be named in a calm manner. We don't dramatize. We also don't minimize what's going on. I think that balance really matters. It's important. And clarity to me is a form of respect. When things are clear, people usually already know what they need to do next. They just haven't had the space to see it for themselves just yet. And kindness is important to me. It matters, because making changes in yourself and talking to somebody about it, it's vulnerable. And I see a lot of people that are very hard on themselves, much harder than the people around them. And coaching, I think, should really reduce the noise and not add pressure to the person. So most of the time, I think progress doesn't come from pushing people. It comes from seeing someone, really deeply seeing someone as they show up, and what they're bringing to the table.
I like the points that you shared there. It's not about rescuing them, and you touched on it, but not giving them advice and that judgment-free space. That's just main points that I've taken from what you just shared. And my next thing that I want to explore with you is, what would you say to someone who is earlier in their coaching journey or is considering of becoming a coach?
I would say it's a fabulous journey. Be very curious in what's going around you, what's going on inside of yourself. Make sure also do your own work. You understand more about situations and situations that people are in, as you also go through similar things